Well, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be making a video on a topic I never really thought I would be discussing on this channel. And today we are going to talk about periods. Yeah, you heard me right, we're talking about periods. And specifically what it's like to have a period when you can't see, or in my case when you can't see very well. Now, to give a bit of context as to why I have decided to make this video, a bit earlier this year I worked with a brand called Callie which make period products. And they asked me to be involved in a campaign called The Whole Bloody Truth, which was talking about different stories from different people who have periods. And they wanted me to talk about my experience as a visually impaired stroke chronically ill person and what it can be like having a period when you have a disability. And then I was asked by the Metro to write an article about what it's like having a period when you can't see. And that got a really great response, actually. I was very shocked at the amount of compliments the article received. But it seems that as a result of all this that's happened, I've kind of become a bit of a period whisperer, which I thought that I would never become because I'm quite awkward and I've never really spoken about periods on my channel. But nevertheless, there are people who do have periods, and it's something that we should be more open in talking about. So without further ado, let's get on into the video and let me talk about what it's like to have a period when you can't see. Also, if you are new to my channel, then hello, welcome to you all. My name is Emily and I make videos about living with a visual impairment and about disability awareness and disability positivity. So if you are new, please consider supporting me by simply clicking that subscribe button and also by clicking the notification bell down below to receive updates whenever I post new videos. The subscribe button's the big red button. It's the same colour as my dress. First up, let's talk period education. Now, what was it like being a visually impaired student having lessons on periods and on sexual health? Well, to say they were awkward would be a bit of an understatement, but awkward they were. Now, I actually remember the first lesson I ever had on the subject of periods, and I was in class. I was sat relatively near the front. Nevertheless, I was not able to see the boards, the diagrams, the videos that were being shown on how to do things like put in a tampon and what happens in your body when you have a period. I couldn't really see any of that. But I was interested to know because, of course, I knew it would be something that would affect me sooner or later. Although, having said that, there was some concern that I might not get a period because of my chronic illness. More about that in a different video. So I knew that that was something that could affect me, and I wanted to understand what a period was going to be like and how I would be able to use a tampon or how to insert a pad. And I couldn't see any of these diagrams or any of these videos. But of course, I wasn't going to be that person who raised my hand and went, "Miss, I can't see, can I get really close and personal to the board?" I wasn't about to say that. So I sat there feeling really awkward and embarrassed and not knowing what was going on, thinking, when my time comes, what on earth am I going to do? And I was a teenager. I thought that life was against me. I thought the world was against me. I just didn't really want to talk to anyone about menstrual health. So I was just like, you know what, I'll figure it out when the time comes. The time came and I didn't really know what to do. It was a Saturday. My mum was at work. My aunt was at work. My dad was the only one in the house. And I was a bit like, what on earth do I do? I've started my period and I'm so alone. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to put a tampon in. I don't know what the size is. I can't read any of the packets on things. I can't read what it says. And I was really stressed out, and it ended up with me calling my mum when she was having her lunch break, saying, "I don't know what to do. I'm so confused." So that was my first experience of having a period, and that is not even to mention the symptoms that I got as a result of having an endocrine illness which affects my hormones and my energy levels and my sugar levels. That's a whole different video, folks, because that was a experience and a half. Let's just focus on the visual impairment side of things. So I didn't know what to do the first time round, and it took my mum coming home, explaining all the different sizes of tampons and sanitary towels and what to use at different times of your period and how to guess if you're going to need a more thicker one on, if you are more heavier, or if you use a lighter one, or to use a nighttime pad or one with wings. There was so much to it, and of course because I couldn't read any of the packets, I was a bit like, I have no idea what to do here. That was my first experience of having a period, and things didn't really get much easier from there, to be honest. Now let's answer that question that a lot of people who are sighted tend to ask me. How do you know if you have a period? Well, it's not really something that I can give a lengthy answer to, because let's all be honest, right? None of us have been equipped with eyes down there, have we? You just feel something happen and you guess and you know because it feels different down there. And you think to yourself, oh, my period started, I better go and tend to this, and you sort it out. Well, it's exactly the same when you can't see. Now, let's talk about leaks and accidents. Now, although I mentioned in my last point that you tend to know when you are getting your period, one thing I do get worried about as a visually impaired person is leaks and accidents. And specifically if I am due a period or it's after a period and you have that time before and after where you might have some spotting, or you might get very, very light leaking and it's not quite a period but you're still getting a little bit of spotting here and there, and I always worry that I'm not going to be able to see that and I might not have a pad in. And I worry about this more in the summer if I'm wearing a very light dress and I'm thinking, oh, okay, what if I don't notice that I'm still leaking and I don't realise and I leak through and it shows on my dress. What I do when this happens is I get very, very slim panty liners, and these are very, very small slim liners that go in your knickers, and they are just more comfortable if you are on a very light period or if you're at the beginning or the end, and it's just a little bit of assurance if you just want something to stand you in good stead until your period has finished. Because we all know that sometimes having a period is like that person who doesn't leave. They're at the door and they're going to go, but they're like, bye, see you later, bye. That's what having a period sometimes can be like, and it's really annoying. Luckily, I don't think I have ever leaked and it's ever shown, because I always tend to use quite thick sanitary towels, and especially when I first started my period, I was so paranoid that I would leak through at school and I wouldn't see and I would get mocked and bullied for it. So I compensated by wearing very thick sanitary towels, and I would often skip gym because I would refuse to wear anything lighter, and I would refuse to wear a tampon just because I was so paranoid. Being a visually impaired student at school, getting a period was like one of the most awkward and stressful times for me of my entire life. Now as an adult, not so much, but as a teenager at school, oh my god, the stress levels were high. The stress levels were high in this one. Next up, I want to talk about shopping and package inaccessibility. Now, often for me, shopping for period products as a visually impaired person has been rather awkward over the years, and still is to an extent, although not as much. Now, the thing is, period products are not by default that accessible. You know, the print is not very large. There often isn't very good colour contrast. There isn't often a lot of colour variation with the actual package. Usually you get blue packets of sanitary towels, you might get purple ones, and then you might get perhaps teal blue or green. There isn't a lot of variation between the products, so it can be really hard when you are trying to find a period product and you're trying to find the correct one. So if I'm shopping on my own and I don't have anyone with me to find what I'm looking for, I tend to have to get out my Seeing AI app to try and read out the package description, or to scan the barcode in, or to read out the information on the packet. And this can take a bit of time, and it's not something that I'm incredibly comfortable with. I don't really like to be that person literally feeling all the sanitary products in the sanitary aisle looking for what I'm needing and having to spend time with my phone scanning each one. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong if you need to do that. But I'm just a very awkward person. It just feels like the spotlight is being put on me, and often you get someone come up to you with the best intentions saying, oh, are you okay? What are you looking for? And usually that's fine. I'll usually just say, I'm looking for this particular brand and this particular strength of sanitary towel. Can you find it for me? But sometimes you just get someone who wants to ask you the ins and outs of your life story and how you have a visual impairment and how you manage when you're on your period. I've had that a couple of times now, and it can be a bit awkward because you just want to buy your sanitary towels or your tampons and just leave. And sometimes you might be caught short. You know, you might have not put an obligatory sanitary towel in your bag, and you might not have any, and you might start your period when you're out, and you want to quickly get what you want and go. And that is the most difficult thing. If I start my period, I need to get something straight away. I can't be like a sighted person and go,
yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Put it in my basket, put a bit of chocolate in there, go up to the till. Hello, I'm just getting these things. Goodbye, see you, good day.
I have to be like, oh, I can't find what I'm looking for. Let's get my app up. Read that one, no, not it, no, not it, no, not it, and spend probably about 10 minutes trying to find what I'm looking for. And by that time, things might have happened down there. So a lot of the time now, I tend to pre-order my sanitary towels in advance, and I will order them in bulk, and I always order them at the end of a period when I may have run out of my current supply, and I will have a plentiful stock available. And I'll also make a point of leaving one sanitary towel in every one of my bags that I tend to use, so I've always got one available. I have found ways of being able to get around this, but sometimes life happens, sometimes you forget. Now, I also wanted to mention the subject of pimples. We all know that having a period can make you get the odd pimple or hormonal acne breakout or zit, and it can be very frustrating. And I think for me as a visually impaired person, when I get a hormonal breakout or a zit, and I don't know what kind of breakout I'm dealing with. I don't know if it's really red and inflamed. I don't know if it's got a white head or a yellow head that I could potentially extract if I wanted to. It can make it very difficult to deliver self-care because I can't see that pimple very well, and I don't want to start touching it or squeezing it or putting a product on it that's going to aggravate it. It can just be very annoying because if you've got a visual impairment and you can physically feel something on your face but you don't know what it is to be able to get at it, it can just be very annoying because you can feel this blemish somewhere and you want to do something about it, but because you can't see, you can't, because you might end up making it worse. Oh god, spots though when you're on your period. It's the worst thing ever because all you want to do is eat chocolate and junk food, but you have spots and then you eat junk food. Well, for me, that's how it is. I eat junk food and then my spots are like,
okay, you want to do that to us? We're going to invite some friends over.
And then by next day, I've got even more. So frustrating. Life is so unfair. Next thing I want to talk about today is representation. Quite honestly, I don't think I have ever seen a period product company use a disabled person in one of their adverts. Can't think of one. Which to me is really a shame because people with disabilities are a huge demographic and many of us also menstruate as well. As period adverts often tell us that periods are supposed to be easy and simple, and just by having this one product will mean that you can do all the things that you would usually do. And for some people who have chronic illnesses or disabilities like me, this is not really the case, and it might make life a bit more difficult when you're having your period on top of having a disability. And the fact that they don't show this and talk about this in a healthy way, to me is very disappointing because it can make me feel as a disabled person that my experiences of having a period are invalid. Periods aren't always easy and they aren't always a conventional experience, and there are many different lived experiences of having a period, and we should be celebrating those and talking about those and not avoiding the subject and pushing them to the back. So that is everything that I wanted to discuss for today's video on the subject of what it's like to have a period when you can't see. I hope that this video has shed some light on this subject and you found it interesting, and let me know down in the comments if you are visually impaired or disabled and you have a period and you want to add anything to this subject, I would love to hear your thoughts. Or even if you aren't disabled and you still get a period, feel free to comment down below because all opinions are welcome. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to this channel as well, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye guys.